Hi there. This is a case study / pitch for offloading routines using robotics process automation. RPA is a technology that emulates and integrates the action of a human interacting with digital systems to execute tasks. It is based on the notion of software robots, which utilize user interface to capture data and perform tasks, manipulate applications just like humans do. Most of the available solutions of this type are offering core functionality as open source, which has encouraged community development and a high number of projects being posted on GitHub. For the purposes of this presentation, we will be focusing on UiPath, which is the market leader, mainly because it offers the highest level of functionality in its open source version and unlimited use of Community Edition. The IDE, which is called Studio, uses C#. And because it's been adopted by many developers, there are many resources available both in terms of ready-to-use open source modules and for troubleshooting purposes. So we can find a lot of resources on Stack Overflow. So this is the development environment, which is both visual and code-based. All methods are predefined as blocks, which take arguments and output to variables, which are, of course, all object types available in C#. This is a project I have created for ARM errors in OneSCM, which are automated alerts triggered by different workflow disturbances. This is actually a specific type of ARM error, which occurs when there is a mismatch between the value specified in the purchase order and the one acknowledged by the supplier. So the product sends alerts to the support inbox, and then the agents have a standard set of instructions to follow, which include logging into the platform, navigating to the page, copying the ID for the document, then notifying the supplier so that they can reissue the document with the correct value, and finally removing the alert from the list. All these steps have been configured within UiPath, so we can just run it. We see that it opens the browser, it retrieves the credential from the product access sheet, and proceeds to send the notification and then removes the item. This is, of course, is a very simple implementation with just few steps, but it illustrates the potential for quick automation at the level of user interface, which is something that can be implemented much faster than what it takes to develop such features on the back end. This is the type of use case that I'm suggesting for RPA within our family of products, mostly as a temporary workflow to be used while back-end processes are being built. The reason it's not ideal as permanent solution is that it requires considerably more computational resources to perform these tasks at the user interface level than in the back-end. So looking at just ARM errors within OneSCM, they account for more than half the requests coming into support. So with relatively little effort to implement an RPA flowchart for each type of error, we effectively cut the support workload in half. And there are also other use cases within our family of products that I have identified, such as similar automated errors in TradeBeam and shoot assets that are stuck in the workflow, also refreshing the tablet UI for SMS masterminds. RPA can also be applied directly at the level of the customer support agent, either by having them run pre-configured unattended robots or by allowing agents to configure their own system-wide macros. I found it useful, for example, to automate the check-in charts on the crossover website, or tying the Play Stop button on WorkSmart with availability in both Zendesk and AirCall. So the effort to get started would just include a dedicated machine running Community Edition of Studio, and with just one RPA developer we can automate the handling of all OneSCM errors in roughly 120 productive hours. Thank you for your consideration.